Tulsi Maharani ki jai. We offer our most respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, and to fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Is that marigolds? Marigolds. Thank you. Jaya Madhova Kunya Bihari Jaya Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopi Janamalabha Irivarunati Gopi Janamalabha Irivarunati Yasunanan Dana Baraja Janaranjana Sunanan Dana Baraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Manachare Yamunatera Manachare Jaya Ranhumadhuva Kunya Bihari Jaya Radhu Madhuva Kunya Bihari Gopi Janabalabha Irivarunani Gopi Janabalaba Irivarudane Yasunanandana Maharaj Janaranjana Yasunanandana Maharaj Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Ranu Madhuva Kunabikade Jaya Radhu Madhuva Kunabikade Jai Om Vishnu Pad, Paramahansa Parvadikacharya, also Zeta, Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace, Alaya Charana, the Bhaktivedanta, Goswami, Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur, Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopikavana Sai Mukunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Machuranam Ki Jai Chakaravasami Ki Jai Yumanamai Ki Jai Srimati Glasi Devi Ki Jai Samvila Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Go Premananda Hari Hari Go. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Budale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nivishesha Shunyabadi Pashyati Tejatarni. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto 77th chapter, text 1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Shukavacha Sa Upasprisha Salilam Damshito Dhruta Karmuka Naya Mam Adyumata Parshvam Virasyeti Aha Sadatim Shri Shukavacha Sa Upasprisha Salilam Damshito Drita Karmuka Nayamam Dyumata Parshvam Virasyetyaha Saratim Shri Shukavacha Sa Upasprisha Salilam Dang Shito Drita Karmuka Niyamam Yumata Pashvam Virasyaitya Saratim Shishugavacha Sa Upasprishya Salilam Dang Shito Drita Karmuka Niyamam Yumatra Pashvam Virasyaitya Saratim All right. Shri Shugavacha Shukadeva Goswami said, Sa Hi Pradyuna Upasprachya touching Salilam water Tam Shata fastening his armor Drita taking up Karmuka his bow Nayab take Mam me Dyumata of Duman Parshvang to the side Virasya of the hero Iti thus Aha he spoke Saratim to his driver. Translation, Shukadeva Goswami said after refreshing himself with water, putting on his armor and picking up his bow, Lord Pradyumna told his driver, take me back to where the hero Juman is standing. So, you can repeat, Shukadeva Goswami said, after refreshing himself with water, putting on his armor, and picking up his bow, Lord Pradyumna told his driver, take me back to where the hero Duman is standing. So purport by the followers of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Pradyumna was eager to rectify the discrepancy of his having left the battlefield when his chariot driver carried him away unconscious. So, verse again. Shri Shukavachu Saupa Prashya Salilam Damshito Drita Karmaka Niyamam Dumata Parshvam Virasyetyaha Salatim. So, Magana Timidanda Shah, Gananjana, Shlakaya Chaksur, Meditam, Yena Tasmai, Sikadvena Paha. So quick, we'll read the commentaries of the Acharyas, just Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur and Srila Jiva Goswami. In the 77th chapter, Krishna returns to Dwarka from Indraprastha and quickly kills Shava riding in his magical vehicle. In order to correct the fault of fleeing from the battlefield incurred by his charioteer, doing his duty of protecting him, Prajuna, skillful in Kshatriya Dharma, doing Achman, put on his armor. And Jiva Goswami says, one version has tu pasprasha. The word tu indicates a change of topic. The charioteer had taken off his armor in order to revive him. Now he put on his armor, Dham Shata, and took up the bow. This shows his great enthusiasm to fight. The reason for going back was that there was a hero there, Virasya, waiting to fight. Very, very interesting. So, several things about this verse, and then we'll get on to really what I want to speak about, is that you have this word upasprisha here, salilam. In other words, in the translation, the BPT translation says he refreshed himself. But according to the Acharyas, this means he underwent a process of purification, achman, which also indicates that even though he was in the heat of the battle, you know, many of us, you know, when we're doing something really passionate, we just forget or do things unconsciously like that. I mean, like yesterday we were working on this, putting together, we haven't put it together yet, but unloading this walk-in refrigerator, and, you know, just came time for Gayatri Mantra. So I was thinking, all right, gotta get it done. And so I had to really control myself not to just like, you know, just get it done real quickly, but just do things the right way and be attentive. Because many times when we're engaged in passionate pursuits, we actually forget, we lose our center, and we forget actually what we're doing, why we're doing, and it's just that we get into the mode of passion. Of course, Krishna does say in the Gita, or Prabhupada says, in the beginning, one gets attached to the particular service, but at the end, when one gets more advanced in devotional service, which hopefully we all get to eventually, one gets attached to the bhakti ras. I'm just paraphrasing what Prabhupada said. So one should never lose sight of really one's goal in life as one's doing one's service. You know, of course you're attached to your service, you want to do it nicely and everything like that. So here, Prajuna, he didn't neglect either personal cleanliness or his spiritual activities in the midst of a battle. Very, very important lesson for us. And whatever we're doing, you know, sometimes, I mean, just like I was like this meeting, sometimes you just forget that you're doing it for Krishna, you're doing it for Prabhupada. It's just like, you know, this is my thing. So that's just false ego. Anyway. And then also the word damshata, which means he put on his armor, indicates that he was transitioning from his state of vulnerability and unconscious state back to a state of readiness. So that's also applicable to us, that we should put on our armor every day. Of course, not that we go out to Walmart and order some armor. They do actually play football or something like that. They have armor on. But what is our armor? The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That's our weapon. That's our protection. That's our kavacha. You know, people talk about kavacha, you know, protection, Shringa kavacha, the Rayana kavacha. Well, we have the best one, which is what? The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukto, Binatvam Namanami No.
that everything's there in the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So when you're chanting, you're protected. You have like, I mean, it's like this advertisement for this toothpaste when I was young, where they would, I'm sure you saw it, invisible shield, where they throw a baseball or something to this guy who just protected himself. I forget, what's the name of the toothpaste? Forget it. It's not that important. He protected, and the baseball would just bounce off. You know, so we have this kavacha, and so the Dhamshita, we should fasten our armor against the illusory energy of the Lord. And actually, we are declaring war too. We're declaring war, Prabhupada said, it's declaring war on Maya. Or, you know, Maya's not our enemy, obviously, but on Maya's bewildering potency. And Maya, or illusion, is looking for ways, you know, throwing and keeping. She'll put things in our brain, you know, this Krishna consciousness is too much. Getting up early in the morning, chanting 16 rounds, I don't have time for this stuff, right? And so she's keeping you, you know. When she sees you're trying to make a little progress, she says, no, 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 it's too much for you. I remember before I joined the Krishna conscious movement, I was living with a group of friends, and I said to them at a certain point, because Prabhupada was coming, I said, I'm going to join the movement. And they said, no, you can't. You have too many material desires. There was Maya. And they got so, Maya, their expression of Maya got so enthusiastic that one of them hit his hand. He was so upset that I was leaving, joining the Hare Krishna movement. He hit his hand on his car, remember that, and put a dent in the car. Why? Because basically, I mean, because I was maintaining them, you know, these two friends. And so, anyway, so eventually they joined because they couldn't figure out how to live without me there. So even Maya joined the movement. And also, Drita Karamukha, means Drita, you know, the firm determination. He picked up his bow. So we have to have this determination, you know, Vyavasayatmaka Buddhir, Ekeha Kurunandana, isn't it? This one-pointed determination. We pick up our bow, we pick up the chanting of Hare Krishna, we pick up our sadhana. And so this is actually, getting back to the story, this is actually Kshatriya Dharma. It's very interesting. So why am I prescribing Kshatriya Dharma for all of us? We should just be, like, I'm a Brahmin, I like sweets. No. Yeah, so in Kshatriya Dharma, and this is the Dharma, not that we should always Kshatriyas. Mother Urmila would be very upset if we were all Kshatriyas. But anyway, but Prabhupada wanted his followers to have that sort of mentality, that sort of persistence, that determination, that fighting spirit, not fighting with each other over, you know, little things like whether ladies can initiate or not initiate. I mean, that's really not a good thing to fight over. You know, you should fight with Krishna's illusory energy. And Prabhupada said if we fight with each other, it'll cause the dissolution of our Krishna consciousness movement. Actually, more things here that I noted down. That he doesn't ask to be taken to a safe location, different part of the battlefield. He wants to fight his enemy because his enemy, he considers him to be a hero. You know, in the Gita it says, happy is the Kshatriya. Whoops. Yeah, happy is the Kshatriya, you know, when he's challenged to some sort of competition like that, so he says, he's a hero. It makes him more enthusiastic. That's interesting, isn't it? To have someone who's really a good fighter makes him more enthusiastic. So when we see that so many people are in illusion, not that we like that, but it makes us more enthusiastic to go out. When we see so many people are suffering, it makes us more enthusiastic to go out. And we should have the Kshatriya mentality of being ready to die on the battlefield. Prabhupada actually said this, and I know it, I've quoted this many, many times before. Prabhupada said, give me the benediction of dying on the battlefield. He said, we want not sit-down type devotees. Of course, you're all sitting now. I don't want to encourage you to jump up and start fighting. But not sit-down devotees, but, fighters like Arjuna. And so, let's talk about a Kshatriya before we get to the point I wanted to make. So, I want to quote this verse from the Bhagavad Gita, 1843, which are the qualities of a Kshatriya. Of course, the word Kshatriya means those who like to protect others from harm. So we like to protect others from the harm of the illusory energy. Kshatriya, you understand? Trayate, freedom. So it's interesting, in this verse, that Prabhupada doesn't have any purport, at least in the Bhagavad Gita we have to this verse. So I'm going to read it. Shoyam teja dratir daksham yude chapyapalayanam danam ishvara bhavas cha. Ishvara bhavas, I like that one. I would translate that in empathic communication, that we, autonomy. Ishvara bhava, control. Shatram karma svabhavajan. Let me read the word-for-word translation. It's very interesting. Shauryam means heroism. I mean, look at Prabhupada. Isn't Prabhupada a hero? I'm not saying Prabhupada's a Kshatriya, that's not the point, but I'm just saying the qualities that we have to imbibe. Prabhupada was a hero. Teja, power. Prabhupada had Krishna Shakti, power. You understand? Driti, determination. Isn't that what we're supposed to have? Utsahan nisya daryat tatat karma pavartanat. Isn't it? We're supposed to be determined. Patient, of course, patient. Not passionate. Patient. Daksham means resourcefulness, means really being able to think outside the box, being ready to adjust the details according to time, place, and circumstance. There was a verse that was read during this meeting that illustrates this, that, devotee is expert according to time, place, and it was about Grandfather Bhishma, of course, that he knew how to adjust things according to time, place, and circumstance. And Prabhupada, and the purport makes it very clear that a preacher actually has to be ready to understand the culture when presenting Krishna consciousness. It means being very resourceful, figuring out how to do things, not thinking that something is impossible if it's the word or instruction of the spiritual master. A yudhe battle, which is, we have a battle with the illusory energy, cha and api also. This is important. Apalayanam. Does anyone know what that means? Not to run away. In all circumstances, to stay on the battlefields of preaching Krishna consciousness. Dhanam. I mean, look at Prabhupada had all these qualities. Oh my God. I mean, on the boat, having the heart attacks, so many challenges, and he never left. Of course, in the beginning, Prabhupada was going back to the Scindia Steamship Company office and finding when the next boat is going back. But Prabhupada never took the next boat back. Dhanam, generosity. Who is more generous than Prabhupada? What does generosity mean? It actually means to be so liberal that you're giving away something that someone doesn't even deserve, right? A business exchange is not generous. You buy something at Home Depot, which is what I'm thinking of now, Home Depot. So you buy something at Home Depot, and they let you take it away. They're very generous? No. We're probably just giving, Dina hina yatu chilo, harinam udorilo. And Ishvara, Prabhupada definitely, had that, here it's translated in Prabhupada's book as of leadership. It means controller, of course, Ishvaraham Ahambhogi is, the demoniac tendency. I'm the controller. Prabhupada never thought he was the controller, but he was the leader. He was definitely Ishvara Bhava, of the nature of a leader. I know this is not exactly the same as a Kshatriya. Prabhupada was not Kshatriya. Acha and Kshatram of a Kshatriya. Karma, duty. Swabhava Jam, born of his own nature. So the translation is heroism, power, determination. Just think about these things, how they're applicable to us in Krishna consciousness. Courage in battle. Generosity and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. And so we should say that these are the natural quality of, it's the natural quality of work for us. Not battle, but, battle with the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, the point I wanted to make here, let me get to it. The quotes I noted down, is that for us, that shows that we should not succumb to material obstacles and temporary defeats. Again, Prabhupada defeated, so-called defeated, in Jhansi, right? Defeated in dealing with his god brothers. And you see, Prabhupada, the picture of Prabhupada when he took sannyas, he was just like Prajuna holding his bow and arrow, but he was holding a what? A danda. I mean, he almost looks ferocious there in that picture, isn't it? I'm going to get them. I'm going to preach Krishna consciousness. So that should be our mood too. Like that. So, and there's some quotes from Prabhupada that illustrate this. There's some really beautiful quotes, and one quote from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I just wanted to read these quotes because they're ecstatic. So many examples of Prabhupada fighting. Fighting, before I read the quotes, fighting for Bombay, for the property. Prabhupada took it like a battle. When Mr. Nair went back to home, back to Yamaraj, Prabhupada said, it's something like an envious snake is killed, everybody rejoiced. Prabhupada practically had a party. And, and there was a party when Prabhupada finally took possession of it. It was a glorious battle. You hear all these things, and you read the history of this. It's amazing. Prabhupada was a fighter. The other devotees were, like TKG, even though he's so determined, he actually gave up at a point. And he rescinded the purchase agreement, isn't it? And Prabhupada got so upset, he went back and, being expert, strategic, thinking outside the box, how he got Mr. Nair to go to, Mr. Nair and his guru to go to sleep. Isn't that really like thinking outside of the box? tricky. That's like Kshatriya Dharma, practically, tricky. Yeah, and you hear this all the time about Kshatriya, they're just very, just tricky in many different ways. Different strategies he came up with. So Prabhupada was so expert in strategies. Anyway, so I just wanted to give that example. But let me read this story. Quote. This from the Lilamrita. We must interfere, Prabhupada urges disciples. Now we are 500 men and we each have 50 years. So we think we can do it. But you must become dedicated as I am. Sometimes the Vaishnava is criticized as doing nothing. But Arjuna and Hanuman were Vaishnava warriors. When the high court judges wear tilak, then we are successful, my Guru Maharaj said that. My godbrothers were forgetting temples, some rice, eating a little, chanting. But for us, first we work, then samadhi. Wow.
What was the year he said that?
It's from the Lilamrita. You have to check it out. I don't know the year. And here's a letter that Prabhupada wrote. In the beginning of your letter, your comparison of the soldier and the commander is very appropriate. We were on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. One side, Maya, the other side, Krishna. So the regulated principles of the battlefield, namely to abide by the order of the commander, must be followed. Prabhupada said it's like military discipline in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it is impossible to direct the fighting capacity of the soldiers and thus defeat the opposing elements. Kindly, therefore, take courage. There's courage there. Isn't that interesting? Prabhupada said, take courage. Anyway, let things be done so that our mission may be correctly pushed forward to come out victorious. Here's a quote from Krishna book. Even in Krishna book. Wow. In the Bhagavad Gita, this is Prabhupada, 18th chapter, the Lord states that one who's engaged in preaching Krishna consciousness is very dear to him. A preacher has to face many difficulties in his struggle to preach Krishna consciousness. Sometimes he has to suffer bodily injuries. Sometimes he has to meet death also. All this is taken as a great austerity in behalf of Krishna. Krishna therefore has said that such a preacher is very, very dear to him. If Krishna's enemies can expect salvation simply by concentrating their minds on him, then what to speak of persons who are so dear to Krishna? The conclusion should be that the salvation of those who are engaged in preaching Krishna consciousness in the world is guaranteed in all circumstances. That's heavy, isn't it? Guaranteed in all circumstances. Wow. But such preachers never care for salvation. Devotional service has already achieved, wait a second, I skipped that. Because factually, one who is engaged in Krishna conscious devotional service has already achieved salvation. Shukadeva Goswami therefore assured King Parikshit that he should always rest assured that one who is attracted by Krishna attains liberation from material bondage. Okay. Here's another quote. That's not a quote. That's not a quote. All right. All right. And yeah. Yeah, so here's several examples in Prabhupada's life where he exhibits Kshatriya-like tendencies. One is he was a lone soldier during his, when he went to the United States in the beginning. His refusal to compromise, being staunchly fixed. He faced hostile opposition. And, even he met with these Naxalite youths. Everybody remembers the story? The Naxalites in Calcutta, the communists, they were killing people all over the place. I mean, it's not that they were just like communists and waving a red flag, but they were killing. I almost got killed by Naxalites too. I was on a train in Calcutta, and the Naxalites approached me. Whew. Krishna saved me, and that's excellent. But anyway, I was shaking. Prabhupada wasn't shaking. indomitable preaching spirit Prabhupada had. So, the one more quote I want to read from Prabhupada, and then we can take questions. And this is in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I found this last night while I was in bed reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita about the determination of a devotee. And this is concerning Madhavendra Puri. And this is from the Madhya-lila, 4th chapter, text 186. Translation of, it's about Madhavendra Puri's determination to keep serving, in spite of having to transport all this sandalwood. It was like, Prabhupada describes it was a lot of sandalwood. I don't have that information. It was like 80 pounds of sandalwood. And of course he had assistants too. So Prabhupada is talking about the natural result. The quote here is, the natural result of intense love of Godhead, intense love of Godhead, intense. The devotees do not consider personal inconveniences or impediments. Interesting. So if one has actually intense love of Godhead, there's no consideration of personal inconveniences or any impediments. It's like a kshatriya. In all circumstances, he wants to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada's purport is beautiful in this respect. It is natural for those who have developed intense love of Krishna to not care for personal inconvenience and impediments. Prabhupada's repeating the verse. Such devotees are simply determined to execute the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative, the spiritual master. In all circumstances, even amidst the greatest dangers, they undeviatingly carry on with the greatest determination. This definitely proves the intense love of the servitor. So this is the proof. You know, if you ask for proof of Prabhupada's exalted position, this is objective proof. You know, anybody, well, not anybody, but many people could talk about the gopis and love of Krishna and, you know, whatever. I mean, that's nice. You know, people can talk about that. But the symptom, the objective symptom of intense love of Krishna is the sign of someone's exalted position. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Tate Nukampam Susham Ikshmana, I think everybody knows that verse. Then one goes on serving Krishna in spite of whatever happens to one's body, mind, and words. Those who seriously desire to get free from the clutches of material existence, who have developed intense love for Krishna, are worthy candidates for going back to God. An intense lover of Krishna does not care, here's this, does not care for any number of material discomforts, scarcity, impediments, or unhappiness. That's the symptom of intense love for Krishna. Someone just nirapeksha. It is said that when one sees apparent unhappiness or distress in a perfect Vaishnava, it is not at all unhappiness for him. Rather, it is transcendental bliss, because he's accepting it to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Shikshashtaka, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also instructed, Ashlishava Padavratam Panashnumam. I think you know that. The intense lover of Krishna is never deviated from his service despite all difficulties and impediments brought before him. So, we have 1 minute for questions. Purvaji.
You say more about your maximizing travel?
About who?
On the train when the maximizing.
Oh, the Naxalite. About my experience? I was just shaking. You know, they looked at my watch. In those days, you go through India and everyone wanted to take watch darshan, because not many people had watches, and especially, it wasn't an electronic watch, it was the old tick-tick-tick-tock type of watch. You know, they what's that watch? I said, I'm just a Hare Krishna. I was a brahmachari. And it was I think it was in the baggage car, which I was, what are you doing? Where are you from? And that was it, you know, just like, you know, just challenging, looking at me, and I just said, Hare Krishna. Yeah. He said, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. I mean, I didn't do anything. I wasn't bold. I was scared to death. What's that?
Some evidence of Varna there.
I wasn't, you know, like Karna, for example, I just want to point that out, was able to tolerate the pain and everything like that. I'm not like that. I was a Kshatriya. But for preaching, I mean, that wasn't a preaching opportunity. That was a learning opportunity.
Hare Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan Govinda Govinatha Madana Mohan Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Rishigata Vamsivata Dvadasakana Vata Vamsivata Jahasabalila Koilo Srinandananda Srinanda Jashoda Jaya Jaya Gopaga Shri Damadi Jaya Jaya Jinuvatsaga Jaya Vrishabhanu Jaya Kirtida Sundari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Birnagari Jaya Jaya Gopishwara Vrindavanama Jaya Jaya Krishna Saka Bhatu Dvijara Jaya Ramagata Jaya Rohini Nanda Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Basi Jata Jaya Dvija Patni Jaya Naga Kanyaga Jaya Bhakti Tejahara Pailo Govinda Chara Rasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyam Jaya Radha Shyam Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Sarvamanaram sarva rasa Parakiya bhave jaha brajete prachar Ay brajete prachar Shri Janava Pada Padma Gloriya Smaran Dina Krishna Dasa Kore Nama Sankirtan Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Hare Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Govinda Gopinatha Madana Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Shri Vrindavan Dham Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada All glories to Radha Kund and the divine forest of Vrindavan. All glories to the three presiding deities of Vrindavan, Sri Govinda, Gopinath, and Madana Mohan. All glories to Shamakunda, Radhakunda, Govardhan Hill, and the Jamuna River. All glories to the great forest known as Mahavan. All glories to Keshigata, the Vamsivata tree, and the 12 forests of Vraja. At these places, the son of Nanda, Sri Krishna, performed all of his pastimes. All glories to Krishna's divine father and mother, Nanda and Jasoda. All glories to the cowherd boys, headed by Sridham. All glories to the cows and calves of Vraj. All glories to Radha's divine father and mother, Vrishabhanu, and the beautiful Kirtida. All glories to Purnamasi, the mother of Sandipani Muni. All glories to the young cowherd maidens of Vraja. All glories to Gopishwara Shiva, who resides in Vrindavan in order to protect the holy Dham. All glories to Krishna's funny Brahmana friend, Madhu Mangala. All glories to Ramagata, where Lord Balaram performed his rasa dance. All glories to Lord Balaram, the son of Rohini. All glories to all the residents of Vrindavan. All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmanas. All glories to the wives of the Kaliya serpent. Through pure devotion, they all obtained the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. All glories to the place where the rasa dance of Sri Krishna was performed. All glories to Radha and Shyam. All glories to the divine rasa dance, which is the most beautiful of all Lord Krishna's pastime. All glories to the mellow of conjugal love, which is the most excellent of all rasas, and is propagated in Vraj by Sri Krishna in the form of the divine Parakiya Bhav. Remembering the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda's consort, Sri Janava Devi, this very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna sings the Sankirtan of the holy name. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai.
Chandrika Vitaranam Vijavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pradipanam Pranamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bhada Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pitani Amita Smaranena Kala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Dordaiva Midrishami Ajani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Suhishuna Amani Namana Dena Kirtaniya Sadari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadishakamaye Mama Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Oitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripayata Vabada Pankaja Stita Duli Sajashim Vachintaya Nayanam. What garlands! Wow. Look at Tulsi. Wow. Wow. Beautiful. You. Unbelievable. Takshusha Bhavishayatam Shunayatam Jagat Govindam Virahiname Ashlishava Padamratam Manastumam Adarshanam Marmahata Karotuva Yatatatava Vidadatu Lampato Mat Prananatastusa Eva Napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the